My name's Pete Woods, you're watching Hexham TV. Who are you?
My name's Mike Deming and I'm a Hexham Town Councillor.
So Mike, we're here in Hexham Library today. What is the event?
So the event is a combined home energy and electric vehicle event. Its main premise is to basically help residents who are interested in making a renewable or sustainable move to energy solutions or electrical solutions. When we've run the climate events in the past, when I've spoken to residents who want to do something, they struggle to know who to go and speak to. So this event was basically having everybody that they could speak to in one day. So in Hexham Abbey car park, thanks to Hexham Abbey, we have a number of electric car suppliers who are demonstrating their vehicles there. And there's a whole range of second-hand electric vehicles to some of the newer ones. In the main front part of the library, we've got some electric bikes. So there are 6 electric bikes there that people can come have had a look at. And also we have a lady called Jan from Northumberland County Council, who is a trainer for people who've forgotten how to ride, who can help them go back into cycling and using an electric bike. And then here in the main part of the library, probably one of the sort of busier areas where we've got local installers that can do solar panels, air source heat pumps, batteries and ground source heat pumps as well. So basically all under one roof you can find out about cars, bikes, or the harder thing for residents is actually I have got a little bit of money or I am interested but I don't know who to go and speak to. So we're sort of supplier agnostic. We're not experts in vehicles or cars or air source heat pumps, etc. But we've gone out locally, we've used government websites, we've invited the people here and people can come and speak to people and just find out just a bit more about what's happening in the marketplace and how they can get help.
One of the issues for people who might be considering buying an electric car is the charging infrastructure in the town and around the town. What could you say to people about that?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. So some people that buy electric cars do have drives, so most of the charging, if you have a drive, you do your charging at home, you tend to drive the car, you come home, plug it in and it charges overnight, so that works quite well. If you don't have a home charger, then there are public chargers, and what's been interesting is, because I've had an electric car since 2019, where there are hardly any chargers at all in Hexham, but since 2019 there are chargers at Hexham Hospital, there are chargers at a couple of the supermarkets. I can't really mention them because that might just show favouritism, but 2 of the supermarkets have chargers there. If you go towards the A69, there's next to the petrol and fuel station, there is a coffee company. They've got chargers there. Northumberland County Council has put some chargers in at the Losing Hill where the old swimming pool is. There are chargers there, and then Wentworth Car Park also has a number of chargers at the top end and by the swimming pool. So there's a fair number of chargers that you can use to support your electric car.
One of the things people might say is that, you know, this is aimed at people who've got money and who can afford to install a new heating system or can afford to buy an electric car. What are you doing and what are the Town Council doing in terms of speaking to social housing providers or people who might be landlords to try and encourage them to actually take on some of these sustainability ideas?
What we do have is we've invited Northumberland County Council here under the Warm Home Initiative programme, which has a grant called Eco4, and that is designed for people on an income of less than 30,000 or on benefit. And there are 2 people from the Northumberland County Council at the back of the library who are offering advice. They can help you go through the scheme, and if you meet the criteria, they will pay, the scheme will pay for those on the low income for all of those systems to be put in. In terms of also affordability, the government has a boiler upgrade grant, which is £7,500. So if you have a gas boiler and you're going to swap it out for an air source heat pump or a ground source heat pump, the government will give you £7,500 towards that. So there are grants available for those on sort of normal income, but for those on low income, they can use the Eco4 or Warm Homes grant, contact Northumberland County Council, and they can also work with landlords as well.
I'm David Ledley from Lloyd BMW and Mini in Newcastle. So we're just being invited down from Mike just to raise awareness of all of our new cars, give the people of Hexham a bit of an overview of what new models are out there within the electric range. It's obviously a sustainable event. There's some energy providers based just over the road there, so we're in partnership with them and working alongside, just showing people what cars we've got.
So what are some of the advantages of an electric vehicle from the sort of sustainability angle?
Yeah, so what you would also have is it's a lot cheaper to run compared to a petrol car or a diesel car. You know, you can get your price of electricity a lot lower now. The range on these cars is massively increased over the last couple of years. So again, the likes of the Mini will do 150 miles on range. You've got some of the BMWs, they'll be up to about 250, 300 miles depending on what car you look at. But the benefits are, it is cheaper to service, so longer term costs and the running costs of these cars are greatly reduced, and everyone's sort of keen to have a look at what we've got. We've got petrols, hybrids and full electrics.
How long does a battery last in one of these cars?
The batteries should be lasting around about 15 to 20 years. They're warranted for 8 years, but again, the developments, you know, we'll soon be seeing solid state batteries in the next 5 years, and that'll greatly increase the range as well, potentially reduce the size of the battery, so you can either get a smaller battery, go the same distance as what we've got now, or you get a double size battery and you'll be doubling the range. And then the plan is that when all the batteries are finished in the cars, what they'll be doing is they'll be taking those batteries out and they'll actually be placing them into the factories, so the factories will be running on the used batteries.
So one of the issues with buying or considering an electric car for the future is the charging infrastructure.
Yes.
And in a town like Hexham, where, you know, a lot of people don't have their own driveway, or you know, there are only a limited number of charging points, what would you say to encourage people who have those concerns?
Yeah, and it is a concern. Obviously, there's a lot of terraced houses, there's a lot of people living in apartments and flats. So there are a lot of companies looking into this. They are coming up with different ideas, such as gullies running through the pavements, and the most recent one I saw was a pop-up station, so it actually comes up from the pavement, and then when it's not in use, just goes down flat. But also, what a lot of energy providers are looking into is supercharging networks. So they will be putting, say, at the end of a terrace street, or they'll be putting in a hub, so you can quickly just go and charge your car. 20 minutes is probably all it would need, and then you just run it as a normal car, and you do that maybe once a week, depending on the mileage. The range, you know, these cars, as I say, will do 250 to 300 miles, and the supercharging network, if you get on one of them, 80% charge in about 25 minutes. So a lot of people are kind of frightened of the length of time that they think they need to be plugging these cars in for, and you really don't. You just 20 minutes and you're done. You know, that could be your full week's driving.
Another issue that people raise often is the initial cost of buying the car.
Yeah.
What sort of prices are we talking about here? Again,
I mean, this Mini starts at 26. The equivalent petrol engine's probably about 20, so it is a little bit more expensive. The likes of the iX1 on the end there, you know, I was looking at a petrol equivalent, similar specification. The car itself was £14,000 more for the electric, but on a payment it was £6 a month, due to a higher residual value. Different deals, different APRs, so you know, it's worth looking at, you know, and getting into the nitty gritty. Don't just be put off by the actual list price of the car. So you would find that they would have a better residual value in the long term, and that'll obviously help you if you are purchasing it on payment. But yeah, it's just each person needs to have a look and see what's best for them.
And there are a number of car companies represented at this event here today in Hexham. So in addition to Lloyd's Newcastle, we've got Tesla here, who have got one of their vehicles, and also we've got MG over there, and Nissan.
I'm Mick Marston from Derwent Valley Car Club.
So Mick, why are you supporting this sustainability event here in Hexham today?
Mainly because the town council are considering having a car club based in Hexham, electric car based in Hexham. So we thought we'd give an early show and show people what the cars are and talk about how we operate.
So what is the Derwent Valley Car Club?
Well, it's a community owned car club. We're based in the Derwent Valley. We started in Blackhall Mill with one car, and now we have 5 cars in the valley. So we've got one in Rowlands Gill at the library, another one in Shotley Bridge, one in Black Hill, and we're currently in the process of installing one in Burnopfield.
So how does the system work?
Okay, I'll give you the simple version. Obviously it's a little bit more complicated, but basically you join the club and you pay a £5 membership a month, and then if you want to use the car, it costs you £4 an hour for everything. So all your insurance and your electricity, and it'll come fully charged. And you book it yourself online.
And what sort of response have you had from people who've used the car club?
Mega. We started off 14 years ago, and now with just one car, and now we have 5, and the one car we have at Blackhall Mill, we're going to have to get another one because it's getting full. We need more. The other thing I need to say about the car club, it's not just about enabling people to drive, you know, for their own personal use. We have a volunteer driver scheme, and what happens is the person who wants to be driven somewhere for whatever reason books online for a driver, and if one of the volunteer drivers can do it, then they meet up, and then the person gets driven somewhere, and the person who needs the ride has to pay for the car club. So we do basically two things.
So if someone wanted to hire the car for their own purpose, do they go to a certain spot and pick the car up, and then do they drop it off at the same spot?
That's it, yeah. Return to base, basically, yeah.
And would they get a fully charged car at that?
Yeah, it's charged fully.
And what sort of mileage might people be able to do on that?
Well, the car behind you is the newer version, and you can do 240 miles in that one, whereas the old Nissan Leaf, it's about 85. It's different, but what we find is most people just want to use it for a local journey. You know, bit of shopping, seeing friends. You'd be surprised how many just short journeys that people can do. And although we're trying to encourage people to join, we also are trying to capture those people who've got 2 cars, and what they're realising is on standing around for quite a long time and substituting it is a hell of a lot cheaper to drive it when you need it, as opposed to it sitting there on the occasion that you're going to drive it.
And have you got any plans to expand the service, so perhaps if people wanted to hire a van to move a bit of furniture or anything like that?
I have to say we have looked at it, but at the moment it's not something. I mean, the thing with the Nissan, it has got a very big boot space, so it's quite good, and all the seats fold down. A van is sort of a different thing, but we're open to everything. At one time we used to hire electric bikes, but people now just, you know, when there were early days, but people now just go out and buy their own.
So if people want to find out more about the Derwent Valley Car Club, where should they go?
Derwent Valley Car Club website, I think it's derwentvalleycarclub.org.uk, and there's plenty, and there's also the Facebook page. We have a Facebook page as well.
And obviously if they want something like this in Hexham, they should get onto the local town council and try and suggest that it would be a good idea.
Speak to their councillor, say we need a car club.
I'm Malcolm Archer from HE Servicing in Hexham. We install renewable energy projects, mainly solar and micro wind turbines, throughout the northeast of England.
So what can these, are they industrial solar projects or are they home solar projects?
We do all sorts of projects. We do a lot of domestic projects around Hexham. We do commercial solar projects for commercial factories and industrial sites. And then we do micro wind turbines, mainly for the rural farms, just to generate electricity, renewable energy.
So what are the advantages of installing one of these systems?
Installing solar PV will, it reduces your energy from the grid. So a typical domestic solar PV system, if you can utilise the energy that's been generated, you will actually get your money back in 5 to 7 years, as well as obviously reducing your carbon footprint within the property. So there's lots of benefits, and it's financially viable to do.
So the subsidy that the government gave initially has reduced, I think, for installing. What is it now?
Well, feed-in tariffs ended in 2015. So if you install renewable energy today, you're installing it for your own consumption. However, you can export onto the grid and you will be paid, it varies which energy provider you're with, but you can get up to 15 pence per kilowatt hour for what goes back onto the grid. So it's not just going back onto the grid and wasted. What a lot of people are now doing is installing battery storage systems so that the surplus energy that's generated by yourself is then stored in the batteries, and you then use it when you're not generating power. And what is now rapidly happening is people are installing batteries and they're using off-peak tariffs. So in the winter months you can charge your batteries up on an off-peak tariff for approximately 7 pence a kilowatt, and you use that power during the day to save paying 28 pence for a daytime tariff. So your batteries, whilst they would save the surplus renewable energy in the summer for you to use at night, in the winter you charge them up with cheap rate electric and subsidise your daytime usage.
So for a typical house, I know everyone is different, but for a typical house, what might be the cost of installing a solar system like the one you just described?
Okay, well the solar panels themselves are becoming more and more efficient and more powerful. So a 4 kilowatt system, which has traditionally been a domestic installation, 4 kilowatt system today is only 10 solar panels. 10 solar panels fully installed, you're looking around £6,500 fully installed.
That's quite a price drop from what they used to be.
10 years ago you were looking 12 to 14,000, so it's about half the cost today to what it was 10 years ago.
And what about maintenance and replacement of solar panels? How long do they last?
Well, solar panels come with a 25-year performance warranty. What the state is that in 25 years' time they'll still generate 90% of what they generated on day one. So you've got a 25-year performance warranty with them. Your inverters for your solar systems come with a 10-year warranty, but they'll last longer than 10 years. So maintenance, I would recommend that you get the solar system checked maybe every 2 or 3 years, but that's just an electrical check to make sure everything's working satisfactorily.
And for farmers out there who might be considering a small wind turbine that you've mentioned, what about that? What's the sort of costs of that?
Well, a small turbine is anything from 40,000 to 100,000. But the big problem with wind turbines at the moment is getting planning permission, because it has been made a lot more difficult to get planning permission for micro wind turbines. But I think that possibly could change in the coming year. Wind turbines obviously generate a lot more power than a solar system, and they do complement each other. If you have solar and wind, your wind will generally generate considerably more in the winter months, whereas your solar will generate more in the summer months. So they work well together.
My name's Steve Wigham. I'm a director of JP Westalls Limited. We're a local-based plumbing and heating business that has branched into renewable technology to keep up with changing heating and cooling products. We offer heat pumps, ground source, air source, water source heat pumps, solar panels, solar thermal, solar PV, battery storage, and in the supply and installation of all of those technologies.
So how popular are you finding these new heat pumps?
Well, I've been working in this industry for 18 years, so I've seen lots of changes in government policies, etc. I do believe that since the energy costs skyrocketed last year, that the interest in the technology has picked up. Obviously, fossil fuels aren't going to be around forever, and people are moving away from oil boilers and traditional oil boilers and gas boilers to take on this kind of technology. I can see the business growing off the back of the technology. The difficulty is finding the right caliber of engineers out there. So as a business, we've made the decision to actually train our own. So we have 6 apprentices currently in the business. I'm currently lobbying with colleges to try and get them to adapt to the technology, to train apprentices in this technology rather than in traditional gas. I see the future is heat pumps going forward. We're going to become an electrified society anyway. So we offer solar panels to generate your own electricity, battery storage to store that energy, and obviously heat pumps which are driven from electricity.
What's the average cost? All households are different, obviously, but if someone wanted to put in a new heating system?
Typically a heat pump, air source heat pump's going to be anything between sort of 12 and 15,000. We are actually listed under the boiler upgrade scheme, and you can access £7,500 grant under the boiler upgrade scheme via Ofgem through ourselves, as we're approved installers of the technology, which helps the cost of doing that. But the biggest driver is moving away from fossil fuels.
And what about servicing and looking after these systems? Is that costly?
It's not as costly. I mean, any fossil fuel boiler should be serviced annually anyway. We don't just install for our customers, we actually take them on that journey, and we offer service contracts, and we would prefer to service their products for them. Typical costs for an air source heat pump are going to be somewhere between £100 and £200 depending on the size of the heat pumps. And we offer all of that as part of our package for any installations that we do.
Hi, my name's Craig Little. I am the director of the company Tyne Valley Wind and Solar, and we've been operating down the Tyne Valley based in Wylam for the last 2 years. We offer homeowners a free consultation about how solar may help you and your family in your house, and we offer a free proposal in a non-pushy way, and we'd like to help people find a good solar solution for themselves.
So what sort of customers have you had so far?
It's a good question. We have had a variety of customers from commercial to domestic, and we've done many installs in Wylam, Stocksfield, Riding Mill and Hexham, and we've got many happy customers as a result.
What are those customers asking you for mostly? What's most popular at the moment?
Generally, the biggest question is how can we save on our energy bills, and we're able to provide a free proposal which will show them the kind of return on investment that they're hoping to receive.
How long does one of your systems last?
Good question. So there's quite a few components in the system. We've got the panels, which come with a 30-year guarantee. We've got the inverter, which converts the direct current from the panels to alternating current. They come with a 10-year standard guarantee, which can be extended to 20 years. And then we've got the batteries, which come with a 10-year guarantee as well. And of course, our workmanship guarantee, which is 5 years, but I'm a nice guy, so generally that extends to 10.
And if you were to play devil's advocate, what would you say prevents people from actually taking up the opportunity of solar?
I think that's a really simple question. Out of all the proposals we've done, every client has been really happy with the proposal. I think the biggest problem is the funding. You know, it's an expensive system, And even though that the return on investment can be 7 to 9 years, generally it's the initial cost of the system. So unlike Scotland, where they get government interest-free loans, we don't provide that in England, unfortunately. So I would say cost is the biggest problem.
But of course, that might change at any time.
It may do. You know, Labour government have potentially talked about offering interest-free loans, and we've also had a lot of families have actually borrowed money from parents and so forth to get the systems in place, which has been a good investment for them.
And does it work on all properties?
Generally, yes. There's a myth that it only works on a south-facing roof. East-west roofs are also very, very good. It gives you a longer generation span than just a south-facing roof. And you can also put the panels on a north-facing roof, but the efficiency drops to 65%, round about those sort of figures.
Hi, my name's Richard. I'm the owner of Ride Electric Durham. So we're based about 30 minutes from here in Concert. So we are an e-bike company. So we sell e-bikes. We also do full servicing and repairs of e-bikes and mechanical bikes as well. And we're also, in the springtime, we're going to be having a fleet of hire bikes as well. So you can rent bikes. We're a little bit different than a normal bicycle shop in that all the bikes that are in our shop at Concert are demo bikes. So the idea is anyone who's looking to upgrade or anyone who's interested in finding out more about e-bikes, they can come along for a free experience ride, one-on-one, no obligations, and the idea is to find out about the bikes, find out what works for you, find out what you like with the motors, what you like with the gearing systems and so on. Yeah.
So what sort of bikes have we got here?
Well, what we've got here is the three at the far end there. They are called Ries and Muller, so they are a German brand. So they're a premium e-bike, very high quality, very good motors, very good gearing systems. Okay, so that's the three bikes at the end. This is Go Cycle. This is a British brand, and this is a folding e-bike. Okay, so a lot of people who commute, a lot of customers who perhaps have caravans or motorhomes are interested in these. So this is actually the same bike folded up into a little carry case. We also deal with a brand called Gazelle, which is a Dutch brand. So they're the three brands. They're the three main brands that we deal with, and that's through experience. We deal with quality brands, with quality motors, towards the premium end.
So what sort of prices are we talking about for one of the higher quality bikes?
Well, entry level bikes, you're probably talking at about 2,500. Going up to the German, the Ries and Muller, where entry level is probably about 4,000. Where you can go a little bit higher than that, up to kind of 5,000, depending on what extras you would like. The beauty with them as well is that they're quite unique and that they're custom built. So it's built to meet your specifications. So yeah, we've worked with different brands over the years. However, these are the brands that we've chosen to work with now. And if anyone's interested, they're welcome to get in touch. Come along for a free experience ride, try out the bikes, see what they're like.
I'm Jan Chisholm. I'm Director and Lead Cycle Trainer for Cycling for Everyone North East Limited. We're a social enterprise and we do three things: teach people to ride bikes, teach people to fix bikes, and we take them on led rides. We currently are contracted by Northumberland County Council to do cycle training for anybody new or returning to cycling, needing confidence and road safety training, and that's free currently with the County Council till the end of March. If anybody's interested, search up Cycling for Everyone. There's a leaflet which I can point to. Hang on a second. There's a leaflet there which has information on Cycling for Everyone. Email, and we can send an application form, and then we can put you on the list for the free cycle training. You can also try the e-bike, which is the County Council's e-bike here, behind there. You can bring that along to the training. The cycle training is about confidence, it's about road safety. It's based on the bikeability training programme, which is taught in schools. We want to roll it out to adults in the county, and it gives you kind of a layer of confidence on armour when cycling in the traffic.
Thank you very much for talking to Hexham TV.
Thank you.